I'm Blake Tyers. I'm the wood seller and specialty brand manager here at Creature Comforts, and today I want to talk to you about Booger Hill. So Booger Hill is a biere de garde, and the reason we call it Booger Hill is in homage to the honey we use in this from a local apiary, Booger Hill Bee Company. So it's the second beer in our locally grown series, and we always try to throw a nod to the people we work with on a local level when possible. So we've done Condor, we've done Dayspring, we've done now Booger Hill. So Booger Hill, we wanted to make in a traditional biere de garde style. So a biere de garde is a farmhouse ale. It's in that umbrella, and it is related to the saison in a lot of ways. And towards the end of the brewing season, and those breweries kind of in the Belgian, French region, they'd be making saisons and grisettes, and then towards the end of the season, they would brew stronger beer, a biere de age, which is a biere de garde. De garde means to store. So we wanted to brew one in kind of the pre-industrial style, and the reason I say pre-industrial is because at one point people didn't know yeast and bacteria existed, and at one point they did. Pre-industrialization, there was no idea of bacteria and yeast and wild yeast and all the things that make beers funky and tart, and that's the way we wanted to make this beer. So we brewed this in December of 2014. It fermented in French oak barrels and then aged in those barrels for a little over a year. At the end of that time, we blended all the barrels together and bottled it, and it's been bottle conditioning since, I believe, April of 2016. After about a year, though, we were checking in on the beers, and it finally got to the point where we thought it tasted good, and it was where we wanted it to be. However, we had an issue. Anytime we opened the bottle, it would gush out the top. And we didn't feel comfortable selling that to people for them to take home because we feel like, you should buy a bottle of beer, you should be able to enjoy all of it, not enjoy half of it while the other half is on your counter. So we did some research. So started looking into the papers and looking at scientific studies and what causes gushing, why it may or may not stick around or fix itself, and basically came to the conclusion that it was not going to fix itself. So we had to do something about it. So I took a larger step back and said, okay, what's causing this and where can we look for a solution? And once we looked over into the wine world, we actually realized we were right smack dab in the middle of the standard champagne making process. Now, when they make champagne, it's bottled and there's a lot of sediment in it, and it's capped actually first. After the course of a year, they do what's riddling on a rack, and basically what they're doing is having the bottle upside down on an angle. They're having all of the sediment from that settle into the top, and to the point where the liquid is completely bright or clear, and all the sediment has settled into the cap. So at the end of that time, they freeze the cap, freeze the sediment, they open it up, and all the sediment comes out the top while the liquid stays inside, and then they cork it. So we needed to do that because we have the same issue. We have a highly carbonated beer that we don't want to gush, and we want to present it well, so we have to get the sediment out. So we started down that process. While we didn't do the traditional riddling and racking, we actually just decided to age it upside down in boxes, cold, and then after the sediment had settled down into the cap, we froze the caps and did a disgorging process. So we froze it to the top, opened it up, let the yeast and sediment plug come out the top, and then recapped it. So all of Booger Hill bottles have been disgorged as well. So this beer, brewed in 2014, is now ready for release in the fall of 2017. It's been a long process, but we feel like the beer is actually tasting better than ever, and it's right where we want it to be. This is pretty exciting. We also have a label designed by Melissa Merrill, once again. She's done a few labels for us: Transmission, Mutualism, the Subtle Alchemy series, Booger Hill, and she does fantastic work. She also did the blend 2 of Southerly Love, and she is a scientific illustration graduate from the University of Georgia. So she did the bee and the barrels here, and I believe she actually used some of the honey that we used to make the beer to color the label as well. So all in all, it's a pretty awesome package. We're very excited about it, and it's nearly 3 years in the making, so we hope you enjoy it. Let's taste. So you can see it's got that kind of amber quality. We use a little bit of color malts in here. Used honey as well. A lot of times honey beers can be called biere de melz, but we felt like the aging process was actually kind of more indignant to the style, so we decided to call it a biere de garde instead of biere de melz. It's 7.8%. It's got this really nice like almond cherry note to it. It's a little bit stronger than most of the beers we've released out of our wood cellar, and along with that comes a little bit of heat and then some kind of a nice presentation of oxidation that really gives that kind of almond and nutty note that complements those kind of cherry quality from the acid. Yeah, I think this beer really drinks well. I think it presents best, probably around 50 degrees. Just a pleasure to drink. Being a stronger beer, we recommend you serve it with your friends. Minerality, honey, earthiness, cherries, almonds. It's just what we were going for in a biere de garde. So I hope you enjoy it. This will be for sale in our tasting room. You'll be able to take bottles home or enjoy it here. And yeah, this is Booger Hill.